Alright everybody, so welcome back. Let's talk blades, because that's what we're into. So, you know those times when you see a knife and you think, man, I kind of want that knife, but you don't really know why you want it. You just want it, and you come to the realization that you want it because of its cool factor. Not so much of its carryability or the way it makes you look as a person if you were to bust it out in front of your friends or strangers even. You just have it because of the cool factor. Well, this is one of those things. This is the Cold Steel Espada G10 version. The original Espadas, they have the silver, nickel silver bolsters and the I want to say smoothed out kind of contoured G10 that makes it look like wood grain. So it's actually really, really nice. They're very expensive. Very, 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 very expensive. I shouldn't say very, 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 but I mean they're expensive. You're looking just the regular Espada, this guy, without the G10, this kind of handle with the nickel bolsters that I was talking about and the smoothed out textured G10 wood grain looking thing. That's $220.64 on Amazon. The extra large, you're looking at maybe $300, maybe $400 for the extra large, and that's this beastie right here. These are the biggest folders in my entire collection. Kind of achievements to me, because I didn't think I'd ever own an Espada, to be honest with you, but when they came out with the G10 version, I had to jump on it. This was years ago. I want to say probably about a good, I want to say I purchased these about a good 5 years ago, 5, maybe 6 years ago, the very beginning of it all. They're great. They're not pocket friendly by any means. I mean, by any means. They are not pocket friendly. You will have to have a dedicated pocket for these because they are that huge. And yes, it is bigger than my extra large tie light, which I've done a video on. I showed you guys how big that tie light was. The Espada, and I will do specs on both of these so you guys have a good idea. If you're able to find the G10 version, great. If you're not, I apologize. Like I said, I bought these a very long time ago. But they're huge. They're ridiculous. So, and that's what Cold Steel is known for. So enough talk. This is the original Espada. It's pretty big. Here's my hand. Here's the knife. Okay. This is the a normal size Espada. Yes, it is AUS 8 steel. Here it is. Here's how big the handle is. Okay. There's light jimping here, but that's it. You just have a contoured handle that makes it look like, and this is a pocket sword just by itself. And of course, if you really wanted to get the extra reach out of it, you could do that number, or even this number, or heck, why not even that number right there, and you have all that reach. Now this is just the normal one. Now if you're wondering where's the pocket clip, I removed the pocket clip to put it on another knife that needed it, and I think I want to put the pocket clip back if I can relocate what knife I put it on. But it was a cold steel knife, that's why I had to remove it. It broke off my original pocket clip on a knife that replaced broke off, so I had to take the one off of this one. Huge knife. Yes, I used to carry this one in particular, and excuse me. And I can tell you right now, this is the kind of knife that it gives you a sense of confidence, but you're gonna have that tail right here sticking out of your pocket. Yeah, this thing is huge. This thing is gargantuan. And by saying that, I'm going to move on to the extra large, which is the biggest of all of my folders, this is the biggest. Here's my hand, okay? And here is this flippin' sword. I'm just going to call it that. Oh, good lord. There we go. Have I carried this? Yes. Yes, I have. This is no fun carrying at all. It is huge. It is... Okay, here it is. You can do 2 hands. Look at that. 2 hands on this thing. It is a sword. This thing is a sword. Here's the original Espada, and here it is up against the blade. Look at that. I'm putting it right up against the blade here. This thing folded is the length of the blade. So yeah, this thing is huge. This thing is massive. This is not the type of knife. Obviously, I am never, ever going to EDC this knife. This is a special occasion type of carry, and yes, you can wave these both out of the pockets because it has a thumb plate right here with kind of a recessed area on the blade where it can catch, and yes, you can wave this out of the pocket. A long time ago when I first bought these, a buddy of mine came over to my apartment and he waved this exact knife out of his pocket for the first time, and it actually sliced his pants. It didn't get him, thank God, but it sliced his pants open, and they were brand new Levi's. He and I were laughing of how close it got to slicing open his leg. That's how dangerous this thing was. Now, don't ask me how he did it. He waved it out of the pocket just right. I think he let the blade bounce after it clicked open because the thing is so huge that it bounced off and at a certain angle as it drew, and it cut open his pants. I want to say about a good 5 inches of his pants were split. That is a true story. And all he did was he just took it to his mom, and he got it tailored. She knew how to sew, so she sewed it up for him, and now it's the scar on his pants that he has. And it's just, yeah, it's just a reminder. Cold Steel doesn't play when it comes to knives. This thing is ridiculous. So I have to tell you, I only carried this particular knife once, and when I was hiking, this was a long time ago. We hiked up to one of our mountains here in town, and I took this with me because you don't know if you're going to run into any wild animals or bobcats or anything that could potentially harm you, so I wanted to carry something that could give me a little bit more bump in my confidence. But even this is pretty big for a knife, and I can show you size comparison before I get into the specs how big this thing is compared to, gee, I don't know, what am I carrying right now? My Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Itty bitty knife. Look at that. Bam. So a normal knife up against the Espada is dwarfed. Look at that. That is just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Now, hold on one moment. Let me get another knife so I can show you size comparison. Okay, sorry, I was away from the camera there for a minute. You probably saw my shoes. I don't know. But here's the Swift. I haven't done a video or a review on this one yet, but I just grabbed it. This is the Cold Steel Swift. This has got a 4-inch blade, so this is a 3.5-inch blade here on the Spyderco Para 2. This is a 4-inch blade. So here we go. 4-inch blade with a possibly 5-inch handle up against the Espada. That's still a huge freaking knife. It's ridiculous. All right, so let me put the Espada, or excuse me, the Swift here. I'll put the regular size Espada here, and yes, there is an Espada Mini, but I didn't want to waste my money on that because I just wanted the Espada and the extra large Espada. Let me go. And it doesn't even stay in frame. That's how big. Here, let me try to back it out for you. You can see that. That's how huge it is. That is how huge it is. Yes, so I'm going to go into specs for you guys. I will do a future video on the Swift, just not right now. But I wanted you guys to see the size of this gargantuan beast, Leviathan of my collection. So I'm going to go ahead and do the specs. I'm going to close this because this thing is dangerous. Okay, so the weight on the irregular Espada, and like I said, this is all different materials. It's G10, so don't go off of just the G10 version because the original version is what I see. Finding the G10 version might be a little bit of a task, but hey, you might be lucky and actually find one, so who knows. You're looking at 8.58 ounces, not a light knife. And of course, you will go into the length. You are looking at 5.5 inches of blade with an overall, I want to say about, I want to say a little over a foot, maybe a foot and a half of handle. You can barely see it, it's off camera, but it's about a foot and a half overall. And yeah, that handle's length, about 7 inches. Humongo knife. I'm not going to go into too much with this because there's really not much to say. It's just a big knife. No steel liners. It is just G10 through and through. You got the locking mechanism in the blade and the pocket clip, and that's it. This thing is huge. Huge, huge knife. And as far as width, or how wide the blade is, 3.6 on the blade. And on the handle, you're looking at 13.1. Humongo knife. I carried this one more than I carried the extra large because this seems a little bit more realistic to me, even though this thing is bigger than your normal knife. So let's go ahead and go into the specs of the biggest knife in my entire folding knife arsenal. It's gonna be scary just to watch this. All right, 13.95 ounces on the extra large. Yeah, and of course you're gonna have about that much sticking out of your pocket. That's a lot of knife. That's basically yelling, "Hey, Mike Myers, I got something that might just beat your machete." Maybe not. So I'm gonna do a couple of weird measurements on this because of how big it is. I'm gonna do it closed. 9.5 inches closed. Okay. 9.5 inches. Hold on. Let me, here's the Swift again. It's the length of a fully unfolded 4-inch knife. 4-inch blade knife. Yeah. Alright. Alright. So, I'm going to have to do this weird because I don't know if it's going to fit the entire camera. It barely fits the frame unless I back it out like that and you can see it. So, yeah, there we go. That kind of helps a little. So from tip, let's see here, 7, almost damn near 8 inches of blade. Almost 8 inches of blade right there. And overall, you are looking at 17 inches. 17 inches all together. That's ridiculous. that's ridiculous. And why not? Let's do with. Of course, on the inside, I will show you that there are no liners. It is just cutouts on the G10. Humongo giant knife of doom. Well, you were looking at 13.5 inches, millimeters on the handle, and then 3.7 millimeters on the blade. Story time. I'm going to tell you another story about how a buddy of mine stabbed this into, not this exact one. He had an extra large because he saw the one that I had and cut his pants with it, and it's the same guy. He went ahead and bought his own. He loved it so much, and he wanted to see how durable a cold steel knife was. So he took the knife, he took this guy right here, stabbed it into an old tree stump in his backyard, and he couldn't get it out. He stabbed it into it sideways, not through the top. He just went sideways, kind of this way, not on top like bam, you know. I assume what contributed to this happening was because of the tree stump being dead, rotted out, and the roots were already kind of crumbling underneath it. But he claimed that he took the handle of this and then pulled it. He kept pulling it about 13 to 15 times, he said, and it pulled the stump right out of the ground. Not completely, but to the point where you could see the roots underneath it about a good more than halfway. And I actually did see that picture he took with his phone, and when that happened, he did damage the knife a little bit. It was a little bit warped after that, from the pivot, obviously, because that's the weakest part of the knife. When it comes to prying at a certain angle, you are going to bend somewhere, and that's where it decided to bend, was at the pivot. He did get it fixed. I don't know what shape it's in now, but he pulled a stump damn near out of the ground with this big boy right here, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. And I was like, man, but that stump has been sitting in his backyard, dead tree stump, for God knows how long. I want to say about a few years after they cut the tree. So I think that also contributed to the fact, because tree stumps, you can't remove a tree stump that easily with something like this. It's purely impossible. I think the only reason why that actually happened was because the tree stump sat there for so long. It was a dead tree to begin with, and all of its rotted roots underneath kind of contributed to how easily, and of course the soil, I'm pretty sure the soil, it wasn't really all that, and it wasn't like a huge tree stump. It was probably about like that. It wasn't, it wasn't a humongous tree stump. That would have made a better story, but it wasn't. It was a smaller tree stump, but still, tree stump nonetheless. It's pretty difficult to pull. So something like that was kind of like a marvel to me. I was like, wow, that's insane. So cold steel is some good stuff. Are they sharp? Yes, of course they are sharp. I'm not going to show you the sharpness of how sharp these are because they're just so big. And you know what? I think I could do it with one of them because I want to keep it in frame without messing up and cutting myself, unless you guys want to see that. But here we go. I'll show you how sharp. I haven't used either of these for cutting anything. So this is the first time cutting anything with them. Yeah, these are ridiculously sharp. I'm trying to keep it in frame. Oh, shit. It even cut that like that. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it all in frame because they're so huge. It's a little difficult for me. I do apologize. But, yeah, these things are ridiculously sharp. I might even do a special video later on where I'm going to be cutting fruits or something with a couple of my big knives, starring that big one back there that I'm not going to use for cutting right now because it's just too huge for the camera. If you're able to find one of these, I'd jump on it. If you're a huge knife guy, if you just want something that kind of gives you the giggles, but also makes you pee a little bit knowing that you're carrying something so dangerous, the Espada's for you. But I am going to tell you one thing, though. Be very careful with them. Like I said, the big boy right here cut my friend's pants open when he drew it out of his pocket to wave it open with the wave, or not the wave, but with the thumb plate, and it does happen, it does work. I'm still going to set a video where I'm going to show you guys how to wave waveable knives out of your pocket. Just haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but when it does, you guys will obviously get to see it, and I am going to do it because I really want to, so it's going to happen. Just trying to show you guys what I have first before I really get into the good stuff. So, yeah, I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks.